Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It is Tuesday, April the 15th. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, the local share market is set for another positive session with ASX futures up around 0.25%. Global equity markets gained to begin the week amid concessions and confusion over US tariffs. Megacap tech shares drove Wall Street higher after the Trump administration removed smartphones and other electronics from its tariffs on China. Technical analysts note that the S&P 500 is now in a death cross pattern where the 50-day moving average has slipped below the 200-day moving average, where a shorter-term correction could turn into a longer-term downtrend. Well, Apple shares rose as much as 7% earlier in the session in response to smartphone exclusions from reciprocal tariffs, with Apple relying on imports from China. Nvidia announced it would begin manufacturing AI chips in the US. Dell Technologies and HP also climbed, with concession extending to other electronics. President Trump has also suggested he might grant exemptions on car makers. And shares of copper miners tracked the price of red metal higher, with US-listed shares of Rio Tinto and BHP benefiting. Elsewhere, drug maker Pfizer said it would end the development of its experimental weight loss pill. Well, the tax on US imports now comes to around 20%. According to BlackRock, which it says has undermined business and consumer confidence, saying in a note to clients that prolonged uncertainty raises the risk of recession. It may drag on corporate investment and delay longer-term commitments. While Goldman Sachs Chief Executive David Solomon has said we're entering the second quarter with a markedly different operating environment than earlier this year. Well, the New York Fed's inflation expectations survey for 1 year ahead has risen to 3.58%, well ahead of the prior reading of 3.13%. Meanwhile, FOMC member Christopher Waller has called the new tariff policy one of the biggest shocks to affect the US economy in many decades. The future of that policy, as well as its possible effects, is still highly uncertain. This makes the outlook also highly uncertain and demands that policymakers remain flexible in considering the wide range of outcomes. The US two-year Treasury yield has fallen to 3.82%, the 10-year down to 4.36%. Markets pricing in a 15% chance the Fed funds rate will be cut by 25 basis points at the next meeting on May 8th, with 3 cuts in total by the end of the year. The US dollar index is down around 0.5% on the day. The Aussie is trading at 63.2 US cents, and Bitcoin is trading below 85,000 US dollars. Oil prices settled slightly higher on tariff exemptions and data showing a sharp rebound in China's crude imports in March. Brent crude futures at $64 a barrel. Copper has continued its recent rally to be up around 3.5%. Iron ore rising 0.5% to $99 a tonne. And gold has dipped as risk sentiment improves, retreating from a record high of $3,245 an ounce. US gold futures settling around 0.5% lower at $3,226. Locally today, the Reserve Bank will publish minutes from this month's meeting, and on the corporate front, quarterly earnings reports are due from Amplitude Energy, Evolution Mining and Hub24. That's your day ahead. See you again tomorrow.